A guten Erev Shabbos and a Gmar Chasima Tova to all. Hope you are doing well. So, Sunday night, Monday is Yom Kippur. Many have a tradition of wearing white. Some wear the kittel. Some try to even find a white yarmulke, a white blouse, dress. And that's a common tradition. I really have a desire one day to somehow figure out how I could get hold of a tie that at the beginning of Yom Kippur, it's red, and then throughout the day, it loses its color, and at some point, maybe during Musaf, my red tie is going to turn white. That's what I would really like to have one day, if possible. Now, how did I come up with such an idea? So the Talmud shares with us, and this is something that's based on verses, that in the days of the temple, they would take a strip of wool that was dyed red, crimson, and it was placed on top of the entrance to the Ulam, to the temple. It was red in the beginning of Yom Kippur, but throughout the service done by the Kohen Gadol, by the high priest, a service that brought about atonement, and with the service that was done with the Seir La'azazel, the he-goat that was sent off to the cliff, the Almighty atoned for the sins of the people of Israel, and that red crimson wool turned white. And it brought about a tremendous amount of happiness to the people of Israel. It was an indication that the Almighty accepted their tshuva. Unfortunately, towards the end of the Second Temple period, the nation of Israel were not exactly on the level they should have been, and therefore it remained red. Even after the service, it did not turn white. This was devastating, and the nation was sad. And the rabbis realized that we have to do something about it. So they first tried to conceal the wool by putting it on the inside of the entrance. But even then, people would peek in, and when during the Yom Kippur service, or towards the end of it, they would notice that it was red, they would be sad. It didn't turn white like in the olden days, a sign that the Almighty is not forgiving. Eventually, they made the decision that they're going to have to conceal this wool, and it was sent out to the cliff with the he-goat. A portion of it was tied to the goat, a portion of it was left on a rock, but the information was concealed from the nation that they shouldn't be sad. Now, this teaches us something very important. Yom Kippur is a day we focus on tshuva, right? We focus on feeling that there are things we need to fix. We regret the past. We accept not to do it in the future. We verbalize those feelings, but never allow the process of tshuva to bring sadness on this very special day. It's a day of pure happiness, right? It is a day when we feel simcha because of the slicha umchila, the forgiveness that the Almighty, right, places upon us. Is a day that should bring complete happiness. And the rabbis did not want that sign that would seem to indicate that we're not where we should be. They did not want that sign to affect our simcha, our happiness. And therefore they decided to conceal it. And what's relevant for us is to recognize how important the day is and how important it is to feel it's a day of happiness, complete happiness. That is how we should view Yom Kippur, the happiest day of the year, because it is a day when things are cleaned. We could go ahead and continue our spiritual journey without the burden of our chataim, of our sins. A wonderful day, but we need to be mindful of it. The rabbis put an effort into it that our happiness should not be disturbed. We have to put that effort into the very, very special day, a day of simcha. There's a lot to be mindful during Yom Kippur. It's a 24, 25-hour period that the mind should always be thinking, right, of how I could become better, how I could connect to what really is my essence, right, my neshama, my nation, my tradition, the God of Israel. But all of that should be done with simcha, with happiness, because it's a privilege to be given such a very special day. So that's the message we take into this very special Shabbos Tshuva, and then Sunday, Erev Yom Kippurim, and it should be indeed a Gmar Chatima Tova and a good year to everyone. Thank you for listening. Shabbat Shalom as well. Bye-bye.